I think you're absolutely Rishi. Happy birthday to Dennis Taylor, 60 years old today.
Excuse me, 59, thank you.
Oh, sorry, it feels like 60.
Mark Selby
I shall do a rendition of Snooker Loopy just to get him into the shape of things today, but it's a great match we've got tonight.
Not a bad break-off shot to start this semi-final, and you would have to say it's a semi-final of the comeback boys. Ken Doherty 4-1 down against Sean Murphy. That was a terrific recovery to take that match 6-4. And of course Mark Selby, the other comeback boy, won the last 3 frames against Stephen Hendry, and also won the last 3 frames to beat Stephen Maguire. So it should be a good semi-final, this.
Yes, both players have been prone to start a little bit slowly, so I think that'll be the key to this match, who gets off to a flyer. Been really impressed with Mark's improvement over the last 2 seasons. As you know, I've known Mark since he was a 14, 15-year-old lad playing in Leicester, and the improvement over the last 2 years has been purely phenomenal. Easy for me to say. Been very good. I'll get the teeth right in a minute then.
Can you please check your little earpieces? We can hear them quite clearly down here. Can you turn them down a little bit, please?
He just held his hand up to apologise there. Bit of good fortune to drop in almost on top of the yellow there. It means that Ken can't take the pot on for the right corner, and it makes the safety shot slightly more difficult, bridging over that yellow.
Yeah,
he did hit the yellow there, I think. He declared it on himself, and he's got a good white as well. But he must have caught the yellow with the cue there. Just moved slightly.
Free ball.
Yes, I think some of the crowd weren't aware that Ken admitted a foul shot there, which is always something we're very pleased with, the great sportsmanship we have in snooker. Docky, undoubtedly one of the game's great gentlemen. Free ball. Possible 155 on.
Yeah, he doesn't really want to risk taking the brown as a free ball. If he missed it, he would leave Ken in amongst them, so he's used the other option of putting Ken back into the table. But you did mention the possible 155 on. We talked in the UK Championship about Jamie Cope having made the only player to have made a 155 in practice. That's some achievement.
I remember Steve James having a good chance at the World Championship one year, and he did actually get a 16 red clearance, but it was only, I think, 136 or something like that. Very rarely did it happen that you get a free ball and have a chance of a 16 red clearance. But Jamie Cope, we know what a great player he is, and he'll be seen here at the Masters in a few years, I'm sure.
It's just a pity the opening frame has gone a bit scrappy already with those reds around the black. Pink out of commission, but you never know how a frame's going to pan out. So there'll be a little bit of tactical play to get this semi-final underway. Well, maybe not too much after that split. And has he covered the one over the left corner? He has, and the one to the right is much more difficult. even if he takes that pot on that we're looking at, how's he going to get the white into a position to enable himself to get on a colour? Bit of a problem here.
If he pots it plain ball, he may be able to come on and off the top cushion for the pink, but he's reluctant to play that because if he misses it, he'll be sticking everything on. May just be playing the containing safety, leaving the white on this back cushion. Needs to miss the double kiss, which he has done. Just a container, that one. A lot of players would have gone for that pot, but I don't blame him. It's first frame. You'll be knocking those in later on in the match. It's a really tough match to call this because they're both evenly matched in a lot of departments. The only thing that could sway towards Ken Doggett is the fact that he's been there and done it on a couple of occasions before. Mark is certainly going to do it in the future. It may well be this week. He could well win this tournament. But anybody who's been betting on the matches this week would have gone broke, I think. I think we've had about 10 or 12 second favourites of the matches that have been played. Yesterday, in all quarter-final matches, all second favourites won.
Well, that double kiss has given Ken the first chance. As all professionals call that the dreaded double kiss. But he's got to work the cue ball here across the table and avoid canning the reds. Well, he's on the pink, but he's going to be hampered. That would have been a result had the white have just drifted past the red. The pink would have been very easy. Faced with that shot, he can pot it but can't get good position. That type of shot there, the pink, the harder you play it, the more difficult it is, because bridging over the red is so easy to get a little bit of unwanted side onto the cue ball, and that affects the angle then that it hits the object ball at.
Would you blame him for not taking it on, Den?
Yeah, there's not a lot of value really, because he can't get good position, so I think he's making the right choice here, Willie.
Ken Doherty won.
So Mark made the first mistake. It only cost him 1 point. He's been quite relieved to see that happen. If he could cue down to the bottom of the cue ball, he'd almost pretend to play a pot here and try and screw back into the balk area, but he can't get to the bottom of the cue ball. So once again, just a little containing safety shot being played by Mark here. Needed to find the cushion, so he hasn't done that, so it's an easy safety shot for Ken.
once again, the pot was no use to Mark there. I suppose in the tactical department you would have to make Ken Doherty favourite. Mark Selby has shown throughout this Masters that he's very competent in all departments. Now this may be his first chance, and he can get to the pink or blue if he's not absolutely, well, he's dead straight, so an early test of the cue action and cue power of Mark Selby, because he's got to screw this one back to it, well, at least 2 feet to leave himself on the pink. Is he going to try and force the angle? He did. And it was amazing that the white hit the right side of the pocket there, really.
Looking at the way the whites finished, I'm surprised the pot went in, but it went in the centre of the pocket. It looked almost straight, didn't it, from our commentary position and our camera angle? But very good pot. It was interesting to note there, I think Mark's one of the only players in the game, Dennis, that has a lot of movement on the shot, doesn't he? You could see him there on that long shot. We'll get a chance to show you that again at some stage. His head and body move until he gets in the right position. No other player in the game does that.
Yeah, in his match with Stephen Maguire, we had a split screen and the difference was quite amazing. Stephen Maguire perfectly still, but it's a mannerism that Mark has had. He's just swaying around a little bit there with his head.
Seven.
I think the real key with Mark Selby, as you mentioned earlier, Dan, is a very, very good safety player. I think the key thing that's made Mark now a threat to anybody is the fact that he's now learnt how to score. He made just as many centuries last season than he had done in his previous 7 or 8 seasons as a pro, and I think that's key. As we know today, you've got to be able to score when you get in among the balls. Mark wasn't doing that until last year, and obviously his run at the World Championship was very, very good. He's a threat to anybody now.
13.
Yeah, he's made 63 centuries in his career, turned pro in 1999, but as you say, well, he had 29 of those centuries last season.
14.
That could be end of break. Didn't quite work out. Needed to avoid that red, and then he would have been on pink or blue.
Not many players have gone back to the drawing board, as it were, to remodel their action. Mark Selby used to cue with his cue some 7 or 8 inches away from the ball. As you can see there, look, it's just a couple of inches away. He used to have it 5 or 6 inches away, and every now and again he used to decelerate on a shot. He's completely remodelled his action, and boy, he's become a lot better player for it.
Yeah, the pink now gone on the side cushion, so it's a very awkward frame at the moment. And very awkward for Ken to return to the baulk end of the table here, just looking at it. There's no easy shot to get him back up to the safety zone. I'll just show you with Hawkeye what Ken's looking at. And those ones up past the blue, if he hits those, he can cannon into reds on the way back. It's just a containing safety shot, leaving the white up here in the corner, but he's a bit short of pace, so there is a pot now for Mark Selby. A couple of reds available to the left middle.
It was a shock to the system to see Ken in his previous match, having played so brilliantly against Mark Williams, to start so slowly against Sean Murphy. He was some 4-1 behind and couldn't make 20. Then all of a sudden he just took off. Made breaks of 141, 107 I think it was. Played fantastic, but as Dennis mentioned, opening chance again for Selby here. Go up for brown or the blue. Always missed that by a long way. I think he played it as a shot to nothing, really. I think he'd have potted that if he'd have gone all out for the pot. Look where the whites finished. He wasn't fancying the shot, was he? And he should have done, really. It wasn't too difficult, that one.
I think both players would like to start this semi-final again. It's just been awkward from the first shot. There is a chance here, you know, if he wanted to send the red up, he could develop the pink and just bring the white back onto the cushion. That's what I'd be trying to do, because at the moment, with the pink and black as they are, is not a lot going to happen. So if we just sent that red up and just freed the pink, the red would be safe.
Very, very tough this hit this thin and get back into baulk because of the proximity of the cue ball to the cushion. And if you place it this thin, you'll do well to kiss the red to the left of the, not to kiss the red to the left of the pink spot.
Foul.
Well, that in some ways is as good as anything. I know it's 4 points away, but left a long red at distance from Mark Selby, which he should take on.
I remember, Willie, many years ago, there was one or two players in the game, if you had them in trouble, they used to get out of trouble by playing an in-off shot. Terrific.
One.
That red went right in the centre of the pocket. And why I say terrific, because there's been so much safety play to get down and knock that in when you haven't really had much table time. It was first class.
Mark appears to be looking at playing for the single red, but a lot of players would definitely be going up and down and getting into those reds near the black. But Mark's one of those players that likes to get what's on, and that's a poor shot. He played for the red in the middle and underhit it by a long way.
6.
Seems to be happy with getting what's on at the moment.
That's another
7.
Terrific pot, and this time he has the angle on the blue. Couldn't have played it better, this. So he can come up towards the reds and black.
7.
Green slightly hampering his cueing, but if this works out, he could open a few up. That's well, it's a wee bit unlucky in some respects. He's going to have to concentrate on the blue now, but he could
12.
quite easily have brought the black into play there. Couldn't have played it any better. But with a 34-point advantage when this red goes in, and the pink and black safe,
13.
He's a strong favourite for this opening frame.
Just lost the cue ball slightly there, which may decide him to take the brown, but I think blue into the black's not a bad choice here. It's going to be tough to win the frame. OK, he's 34 in front if he just takes blues or bought colours. Deciding for the loose red again. He thinks if he can get 3 more reds and blues, he'll be strong favourite for the frame.
Yeah, can I ask you again just to turn those little earpieces down? We'll have to wait ourselves if you don't comply. Thanks very much.
Referee Arian Williams just asking
17.
The audience if they can turn their earpieces down. That's the modern day thing with the crowds. They can listen to the commentary and the earpieces. They're just turning them down slightly.
$18.
If I had one of those earpieces sitting out there, I'd turn you down as well, Willie. I shouldn't say that. They can hear what I'm saying. I was only joking, Willie.
So I can't wait to hear what I've got to say next. The break goes to 22. He's on this red along the cushion,
22.
but obviously very tough. And now he's quite happy that the pink and black are still safe, but he's going to need another couple of reds at least, isn't he, to win the frame?
23.
Well, he is going to clinch the frame
28.
by the looks of things, just with blues, and he's making a good job of it.
$29.
Even there, he had a long way to screw the cue ball, and he's played it perfectly. This table is so quick that the players, well, they prefer that, and when you're playing well, it's much better to play on. When you're struggling, a quick table can make you look silly.
Yes, he needs 2 more reds, doesn't he, to make it safe. So he feels that if he can get on the blue on this one, the one nearest
34.
the middle pocket, as it will be game ball, he doesn't have to do anything with the cue ball, so he'll try and go top side of the blue now and then just roll that one in the middle. Or even the one to the left of the one he's playing now, that's on as well. That's not a bad shot. That's not a bad shot. Nothing wrong with that.
35.
It's a clever shot.
$40.
You'd have to say it's a very good effort here from Mark Selby in this opening frame. Balls went very awkward. And he's done well to clinch
41.
it with this effort.
This for me has been as good as a century break. To make 41 from where the balls were has been absolutely top draw.
There's another terrific shot from Mark Selby. It really is.
46.
He just looks so comfortable out there. Got a terrific temperament. Proved that in beating the 7 times world champion Stephen Hendry, and also coming back against Stephen
53.
Maguire. So Ken knows he's got a tough match on his hands here. Now, what about that shot? I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't move the difficult red when potting the yellow, the way he's going at the moment. He won't be too bothered about that. That was a marvellous break of 54. The balls were very awkwardly placed. He just kept on potting them. Mark Selby leads 1-0. Well, Willie can... Well, he hasn't settled because it was a very awkward frame, but what a break from Mark Selby.
Fantastic break, and I mentioned in commentary, I think in some ways, that when he got to 41, that was worth a century where the balls were. He really had to dig very deep. Ken had just the one red, and then he was hampered on the pink, decided to play safe. After that, never had a shot. And this is what can happen in frames of snooker, of course. I mean, you've got to take your hat off to Mark Selby there. Ken won't be too disappointed, the fact that it was all Mark's good work rather than Ken's bad.
Well, as you've seen there, Mark just nipped out of the arena, and we'll pick up commentary when he returns.
Yeah, I did see it, yeah. I did. Okay, the second frame, Ken Doherty to break.
Frame 2 underway from the likeable Irishman Ken Doherty. Not the best break-off we've ever seen. This is an early chance for Mark. Very unusual to see a player hit the blue. A lot of the times they may leave the long pot on, but very unusual to see a player hit the blue.
One.
Unintentional kiss on the red.
Green ball. Mark Selby won.
Couldn't quite get in behind the blue there. This was the red, and well, in fact, I think he was trying to cannon that red full ball, and he would have been on the black because the blue wasn't available, so it wasn't a bad effort.
And he may refuse the pot here because I don't think he can get around the back of them and playing the run through cannon into reds. The big target in behind the blue, but it's all about missing the red in open play there, the one in the middle of the three on the left hand side. If you play safe off the one to the left of the black, it's all about missing the kiss on that red. So try and swing it around two cushions. He may decide to play it thin off two, but in behind the blue is a very tempting target. Missed the kiss nicely. Has he got in behind the blue? If it has, it's a great shot. You heard it here first. That was a fabulous shot.
Got to be careful here that he doesn't double kiss the red. That was the reason he elected to leave the white up this end of the table. Might have half an eye on a double here, Ken. He's playing the safety shot, but if the double went in, he'd be on the blue. He did try it. He was always going to get it safe. Had he have pulled the double off, the blue was awaiting.
Similar path he could play here, off the edge of the pack if he wanted to. The line in behind the blue is on again. But the only problem with playing off the pack, you've got to be very careful you don't push one over the right hand corner. He's playing off the loose red rather than the edge of the pack to make sure he doesn't push one over the corner, but he still have the same line as the last time he tried to get in behind the blue. Just a little bit wider this time. And this is probably Ken's first half chance of a pot for quite some time.
And if he knocks it in, he'll finish on the blue. I think he can swing this around the bunch of reds. White will go somewhere near the black spot if he plays it with a bit of pace. So he should be able to avoid the cannon onto the pack or the single red.
One.
Doesn't appear to have too much of an angle on this blue. So a little bit to do here. Well,
Six.
surely is not rested on that.
Thank you, Rishi. Just as you join us, balls couldn't have finished more awkward. The opening frame was a very scrappy frame. The balls went very awkward early on.
Ken Doherty 6. Touching ball.
This is how Ken got into that position. He should have been on the red that's near the right corner and dropped tight in behind the black.
If this goes in, he'll be on green or black. Bar the kiss, that is. Has he got second prize? Is the pink available? He played for black or green, but the pink may be on. There it is. It's clearly available, so he could bring a few reds into play here. Not guaranteed to get on one, because the angle he has on the pink is going to have to play it quite firm to move things. He didn't play to kiss the red, he played to sneak by it and be on black or green.
Seven.
Can't get into the bunch off black or green, so if he's got an angle on the red to get top side of the blue, that's what he might try to do. Not too sure whether the red at the back of the pack will pot. I think it might do, in which case he'd like to get on the black to get onto that. Now he may play the little cannon onto the red to hold the cue ball, get the black back onto its spot.
Just decided to cannon the black and leave the red on. Different players see it differently, and Mark just waiting to take the chance to possibly get the black onto its spot. Maybe after this, but a couple of reds available to him, and he could also elect to get onto the blue. And I'm just wondering if the pink is a plant onto a red to the left corner. Maybe that's preventing him from getting onto the blue and going straight into it. It's not in a direct line, but he'd have to be careful there if he did elect to play for the blue. It wasn't a good angle, was it? So very difficult now. He's going to have to pull off a very good pot. We know that that red at the back of the bunch is available into the left corner. That's the one that he's looking at. So if he had been straight on the black, he could have taken it on. But where the white is, it's a much too difficult shot. Green would get him there.
I think he spotted a three-ball plant as well, Dennis. He's just looking to see whether he can play down the left-hand side and get on the plant. He's had a real good look at it, and I think he is playing for the plant. Yeah, the way the cue ball's arrived, that's what he's playing for.
Well, let's have a look at where this red is aiming to. Well, he's got to be a wee bit careful because they're so close together, he could push the plant away from the pocket. Now it looks to me as if it's going into the center of the pocket. He could push this red to one of the angles here. He'll have to be a bit careful. Well, you've got the perfect picture. Let's see if the red nearest the pocket goes offline. Surprised he didn't spot that, you know.
Mark Selby, 15.
That plant was a certainty, provided the other red wasn't there. But the other red, he looks a bit confused, but that was always going to happen because he squeezed it away from the pocket.
Perfect example of what we call a reverse plant. And Dennis called it spot on. And this is a very unusual situation. I'm sure Ken thought with the way that Mark was lining up the plant, he felt it was going to be a certainty as well, and it should be a surprise visit from Ken. Can he make it pay? He hasn't had any table time at all so far. Been kept off the table. This is his first scoring chance.
Now this will open the 4 difficult reds up. We always knew that this red was available. The one that Mark could have played on when he decided there was a plant.
Eight.
It's still okay. A little triangle of reds. I think there may be one available. He's just having a look to see if it is. If you can pot the green, the back red of the triangle might be available into the left corner. Needs a little bit of right hand side to swing the white up to somewhere near the line, would leave that on, and he would free the other 2.
The way he's played it tells it that's definitely on. And once again he'll be moving all 3 reds here in playing this pot, and he's going to have to hope that the pink remains available. Could possibly get onto the pink in exactly the same pocket as the red he's playing by pushing the other 2 reds clear.
Yeah, he just went a little bit too far. He would have preferred not to have been cannoning into this red. It would have been straightforward, but he should be okay.
Decided to play the little holding shot and played it beautifully.
$18. 19.
A couple more easy reds and then it becomes quite difficult. There's a couple of girls that travel from the Ukraine to most of the snooker tournaments. You've got followers from all around the world, and you'd have to say they're supporting Ken Doherty with those colours that they've got
25. on. 26.
Just gone awkward that, obviously played for the pink. Now blue in between bought colours you would think is straightforward, but the number of times, if you're just going in between one of them there's no problem, but you're going to have to come back in between the same gap. You may be playing in between green and brown on the way down and in between green and brown on the way back. It makes it a lot more difficult. That's an excellent shot, well played. You can always hit one of the bought colours when you play that shot. That's a beautifully played shot, the best shot that Ken's played in the match so far.
31. 32.
Tell you what, Dennis, it's very similar to the opening frame, isn't it? Selby manufactured a 54 break from nowhere. Ken seems to have a chance of doing the same.
Well, both players look to be continuing with the very good form that they've shown throughout the week. I mean, Ken's performance against Sean Murphy was quite remarkable. He finished the match with 3 centuries in 4 frames.
38.
I think Sean was in a little bit of shock after that performance. Sean didn't do anything wrong. Ken was brilliant.
39.
World rank number 4 Ken, but provisionally slipped to number 16. No ranking points available here at the Masters, but this is the one title that all players want on their CV.
Ideally after this pink should have got on a red. He'd like to play the black, which would put him 43 in front with 43 on, but if he takes the pink, you see, he'll need another red. This is a great shot.
45.
Well played. Now, there's a little bit of value here in playing the cannon on the red, for two reasons. Purely because he might need the red anyway, but also he can bring the red into play and he's got every chance of staying on black or pink. If he plays one of the other colours, it's going to be very tough to get on one of the case reds.
Well, he's thinking about that, but he's also thinking about possibly potting the red, the pink, and then dropping in behind that red that's next to the black. But he's had a little think about possibly playing the cannon. But there's a little bit of risk with that because he might not guarantee to be nicely on a colour. So let's see what he decides. Didn't play the cannon there.
46.
So he's relying on dropping in behind this red, but he's going to have to use this back cushion to do that and come back between red and black. That's the sort of shot he could play if he doesn't want to try and cannon the red out. Well, he's tried to cannon it out and he's slipped behind it. He'll still have a go at this. Bit unlucky there.
51.
Great effort, wasn't it? It's amazing how different players see different shots, and that was very, very unlucky. I wonder now whether he's wondering whether he should have risked playing to bring the red into play.
I think if he had got on the blue as he intended and was able to drop in behind that last red, that was his intention. Otherwise he would have played the shot you mentioned, Willie.
Yeah, the fact that it's frame ball then, yeah, I think that's a good point, because he could have just rolled it in then as game ball, couldn't he? But he's going to have to take this on. Well, at least I thought he was going to take it on as he fluked it.
And what a fluke, because he hadn't covered it, he didn't get the snooker. There was a gap past the blue and the black to get to this red. Had it have stayed over the pocket.
What a result. I mean, Mark, now from being able to win the frame, now needs two snookers. It can be cruel sometimes. But I think on reflection, what we've seen so far, the way that Ken's compiled this 51 break perfectly, the extra point wasn't perfect, but I think 1-all's just about fair, but that was very fortunate.
Ken Doherty, 52.
Mark Selby, albeit 42 points behind, decides that there's plenty of chance of snookers where the balls are, and of course one free ball will be enough. So he'll be keeping the red on the table for quite some time if he can. Great break that from Ken. Sometimes 50s are just as important as 70 plus breaks. We've got two of the game's best tacticians out here, Dennis. I wouldn't imagine too many snookers being missed today.
No, we said that a player needs two snookers. In fact, he may need 6 snookers because they're probably going to hit 4 of them. Now that's given Mark a chance. Choice of shots here to get Ken in trouble.
Would you be thinking white, red near the black spot then, white in behind the brown?
Yeah, I mean, there's that choice. Keep the white tight on the cushion. Just a little bit too hard. He was hoping to use brown or blue there as the snookering balls.
Ken just having a sneaky look to see if there's any room for the red to go in off the pink, but that would be far too dangerous because he could actually clip the pink in.
Playing an exhibition, you might have a go at that.
I think the key thing here is try and get the white in behind the black, or the red in behind the black, whichever way round he wants to play it, and leave plenty of distance between cue ball and object ball. Played the white in behind the black. Whenever your opponent needs snookers, never leave the cue ball and object ball within a couple of feet. Try and always leave plenty of room, because it's so much more difficult to get snookers if there's plenty of distance between cue ball and object ball.
That's one way of getting a snooker. You could only see the right side of the red and almost winning off, and it's forced a little wry smile from both players. Not sure what the jester from Leicester said to Ken there. Oh,
Foul.
dear. Now, that was a straightforward escape. And now only one snooker is required. And the yellow's in a much better place now. When you need a snooker, a colour near to a cushion is better. But that was a straightforward escape. Can't get in behind the yellow here because the brown's in the way. If he tried to double the red up towards the blue and get the white in behind the yellow, I think he would go close to the in-off here. He might find himself in behind the yellow this time. That was a poor shot from Mark. If not in behind the yellow, he'll be in behind brown or green.
Yes, that's a good chance slip there, Mark. The match is just coming up to 50 minutes, and you would probably think that's a little bit slow and pedestrian as far as the frame and 3/4 are concerned, but both frames have been very, very high quality. We've had some very good safety, and the 2 50 breaks, one from each player, have been very, very good indeed. We know that the game is going to prove to be a high scoring affair, I'm sure, but these first 2 frames have been very good.
A generous round of applause. That definitely clinches the second frame. Ken's got the old dancing shoes on for this semi-final. They've been lucky up to now.
Seven.
Is that a mobile phone going off in the arena?
7 in the frame. Ken Doherty.
Well, the break of 54 from Selby was top draw in frame 1, he won it. The frame of 52 was just as good for Duffy in frame 2. We're level at 1-all.
Well, Steve Davis and John Parrott have joined me in the studio. Guys, we expected a very tight affair between the two of them, but not only is it tight, it's also high quality.
Yeah, and it just shows you that sometimes not all about 100 breaks or 80s or whatever it is. Those 250 breaks were absolutely top class in the first 2 frames, and they obviously were the main reason why they won the frames.
Steve, Mark is making his first ever appearance at this tournament. Ken's been here many times before. Does that have a bearing on either player?
I think it would have had a bearing had Mark not reached the final of the World Championships, but I think he's really in the sort of competitive swim of things at the moment. We were talked earlier before the start of the play about how many close finishes there's been. This one has the hallmarks of going the distance. They are very, very good tacticians, as has been mentioned. They can score very well when amongst the balls. unless there is a luck element where one person gets a huge amount more than the other, you expect them to be a bit tit for tat in this match. They seem to be both on form. It should be a cracking match with a good balance of play as well.
Yeah, Mark's his 2 games in this tournament so far both went to final frame deciders.
Yeah, come from behind against Stephen Hendry, 5-3 down, won that. Same thing against Stephen Maguire, 5-3 down, won that. So it does 2 things. One, it gives you added confidence that you know you can win from those situations, and the other thing is it frightens your opponent thinking, I'm not over the line yet.
Yeah. Well, I know Steve's very reluctant to give predictions. He's already said he's just going to call it a tight match. What do you think's going to happen?
I think he should make a prediction.
Come on then, Steve.
Oh, you want a prediction?
Yeah, who's going to win? Squeeze it out.
I don't know. I think we should ask the birthday boy.
Oh, Dennis.
Yeah, that's the one.
Let's get back to Dennis and Willie. Dennis, who's going to win?
How did he get out of that? Didn't answer the question. He should have been a politician, Steve
The
Davis.
3rd frame, Mark Selby to break.
I'm going for the darling from Dublin. But Mark Selby is playing very well, and he could quite easily win.
I've got to stick with the Jester from Leicester then, haven't we? We've got the Irishman picking the Irishman, we've got the Leicester lad sticking with the Leicester lad. We could be fighting out on the table and fighting in the commentary box. 1-1 at the moment. Shot to nothing available.
Well, he got a horrendous heavy contact there. I don't think he was going to pot the red anyway, but the kick certainly didn't help, because that white should have been back up the table, but you could tell by the sound of this one. Watch the red straighten up here.
May decide to screw off the edge of the pack here for 2 reasons. Could bring the pink into play, but also could screw back for blue or bought colour. Yeah, clever shot that. There's a look here. Is it that too good? He's actually, Dennis, put himself in trouble now.
1.
Yeah, when you're playing that type of shot with a lot of screw, it's difficult to gauge exactly where the white's going to finish up. But a big whistle from Mark. Can't believe how well he hit that. And now he's in trouble. Ken's smiling because there's a red over one corner, red over the left corner, and this is nice to see both players having a little bit of fun out there. It's a very, very serious game, but this is nice to see.
Spotted a safety down. I don't know whether you agree. What about running through off the yellow, leaving the white in the jaws of the left-hand middle? That would cover both reds.
Yeah, that is an option, Willie, if he's got the white over where he's pointing the tip of the cue. I don't think he'd leave anything. He's looked at the possibility of rolling the green in, possibility of rolling the yellow in, both very difficult.
Brown ball.
I think he's going to your position, but he's going to do it off the brown, but same result.
Mark Selby 1.
It's all about covering the red up now on the right hand side with a safety shot from Ken. Big target in behind yellow and blue to cover it up, but can he avoid the kiss on the yellow with the red? So it's not straightforward, this safety shot. If you left the white in the jaws of the green pocket, that would mean that that red wouldn't be available. Well, he's not got the desired side on. Mark will take this on. That white was supposed to be another 2 or 3 feet further to the right than that. Mishit. Well, every now and again you need a bit of good fortune. That was a little bit there. Once you'd cannon into the pack, you would expect to leave your opponent an easy ball. There may be a pot onto the left-hand side, but it's tough to get position.
I'm just wondering if he can get a cannon onto a red when he rolls this in and finish on the black. He might even be able to get on the black without the cannon. Had he have potted the red, he would have been nicely on the black. That was a bit of a chance there. Got to be careful now, because those two reds may be a plant into the left corner, so if he just runs the white up the table, he could leave that on. So he's got to get over behind green and brown if that plant is on, and there it is. That's why he's thinking of moving it.
You may have to bring the white in behind the black spot area, which is not gaining any advantage whatsoever, but it's just a containing safety.
And now maybe we're in for another awkward frame with the red going up the other end of the table. Two fascinating opening frames, but neither player had a chance early on, the way the balls finished up.
You've heard us talk on commentary many times how important it is to get tight on the cushion when you're playing that kind of shot, because if you don't, it means your opponent has got an easy shot to get back into this position. He may even decide to play the pot here, because he could possibly get on the black as well. So when you're making cue down on a ball like this, it's so easy to get the cue ball back at this end. Tight on the cushion, you can't. Not tight again this time.
We've now got four reds up the other end of the table, but this time Mark faced with the possibility of a snick into the right middle pocket. Might be time to take this one on. The white will cannon a red up the other end. I think the natural angle would take him onto the red. If he plays the pot, the white's going along that line and he could make contact with that red. So even if he pots this, not necessarily guaranteed to get on a colour. May have got away with that. But I'm just wondering if Ken can pot this red past the yellow and slip up past the other red and finish on the black. That might be on. He's just looking to see if the angle's there if he takes the pot on. I think he'll miss the... That's the pot he's faced with. He's just concerned about the cue ball. So he doesn't like it.
Probably worried about leaving the red that's to the left of the pink spot into the middle pocket.
I'd definitely be tempted with this one, because I think he can get to where he's got the tip of his cue now. And he wouldn't... Well, he would leave a red into the middle pocket, and that's why he's refusing it.
So we often say in commentary, it's not how good you are sometimes. That little bit of run helps, and Mark played a bad miss there and got the kiss that Dennis said he would on the red in baulk, and left Ken with no shot. Just coming up to an hour of play, but you know, normally you'd say that was very slow for two frames, but tactically they've been very, very good.
There's the average shot times there, 33 seconds from Mark, 28 from Ken, but that's simply because of the way the frames have panned out. They've gone very awkward at the beginning. That wasn't an attempt at a pot. He was playing the safety shot and finished up hitting the red thinner than he intended. And what a chance now for Ken.
One.
All Mark was doing was trying to just hit this full ball, leave the white tight on this cushion, and just miss-hit it slightly. And once this cannon works out, Ken will be in prime position. Great chance.
Chance for chance in this match. It appeared to have been all Selby so far. I know Ken made a 52, but only when Selby had missed in frame 2. There's every possibility now that Ken can take a 2-1 lead. So Mark will be a bit disappointed, really. He's virtually dominated play so far, and could find himself 2-1 behind.
$16. Okay, 70.
Don't think he can hold it. I think we have to play off a couple of cushions here. He was digging down and played that really well. That was an excellent shot because he couldn't hold the cue ball. I'm presuming he's on this red. It's very tight, but I think he can run through to get onto the black. He's got a red in the middle if he doesn't fancy it.
$23.
Didn't really matter which side of the blue he finished there. He was going to have reds either side. And he's finished up absolutely dead straight, but the red near the pink is available. Has he got a bit of angle here? Yeah.
28.
No problem.
$29.
Ken this week in the Saga Masters showing some of the best form he has for quite some time, and it's nice to see him back on song. Got a couple of fans watching back in Dublin, his wife Sarah and 2-month-old Christian.
34.
He's a very proud father, is Ken.
Okay, 35.
Very popular all over the world, Ken Doherty. That's a pretty good nickname that they gave to him, the Darling of Dublin. As you could see, he was almost dead straight, but he should be okay. say he should be okay. He's played a pretty poor shot there.
42.
He's played that with reverse side for the 2 reds there. It's just above the pink, and he overdid it, and now he's got a problem.
It's funny, isn't it? All the 3 reds he can pot, he's hampered on all of them. So just thinking he may just be playing a safety shot here. He'll be disappointed not to have won the frame at that visit where the balls were. This is the first time he's reached the semi-final stage with this fabulous tournament since 2004. I'm sure all players left would fancy winning. Some strange results this week, but I think it's take your pick, any one of 4 at the moment.
That was a brave choice. That was the only red that was safe. He tried to back double it, but he may just have left Ken on here. It's a tricky one into the left middle pocket. This, if it goes in, could give him the frame.
It's one of those, isn't it? If you were 41 behind, you wouldn't think twice about playing the shot. The fact that he's 41 in front, he was always worried about giving Mark a chance. The mind plays unbelievable things in this game, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's how you feel out there on the table. You're always playing the percentages, and he felt that he had a lower percent chance of potting that, so that's why he played the safety shot. Another little name he has is Crafty Ken, and he showed us why there.
Ken will be quite happy to see that red pushed to the side cushion. 41 in front. Mark Selby, if he's going to win the frame, will need that red. So that's definitely in Ken's favour.
That was another little crafty shot from Ken, although he hasn't knocked it safe, but he had every intention of disturbing the black when he played that last safety shot. That was intentional there, sending the red onto the black. And there is a possible pot, the one next to the green, but far from easy. Just looking to see where he could leave the cue ball if he takes the pot on. Looks as if he wants to have a go at this. Just enough room past the brown. It's close. It's there. he has knocked in some unbelievable pots throughout this tournament, and that was another one there.
It's hard to decide whether sometimes players are too careful. Remember a couple of shots ago, Ken refused the red in the middle purely because he was 41 in front. He was 41 behind. He'd have played it without even thinking about it. The fact that he was 41 in front, decided to play, you know, a safety shot, and that could have ended up costing the frame, because it's given Mark a chance to really get back into the frame now.
6.
Tough to win it at this visit, but there's certainly a chance. Same problem as Ken had in the last frame when you've got to in and out the baulk colours twice. I think in between the yellow and brown would be the better choice here, purely because he's got the 2 reds in the baulk area that he could get on. Playing in between green and brown twice is a lot more difficult from here. Can't quite tell whether where he's cueing, which way he's playing this one. Trying to go around the back. It's always tough to miss the kiss, but he has missed the kiss, and this is brilliant. What a shot. What a shot. Shot of the match so far.
11.
And a generous round of applause, because as the white was coming round, you could see Mark. Just watch Mark's reaction. As the white, he just was dipping down, forcing the white past the red, and it really was a bit special, that.
12.
And we've said throughout the week how Mark Selby is
19.
competing out there, but he's enjoying every single minute of it.
20.
And what a steal this would be. Okay, he had to push a red safe when he played a safety shot, so there's only one ball that's a little bit awkward. I don't think that was intentional there, but he'll take
27.
it.
Well, believe it or not, he's played for the red he's kissed into the right hand corner. He completely mishit it. He's played just to run by the red and get onto it in the right hand corner. And in fairness, very fortunate to have a pot on. He's just playing to brush by the red for the red in the right hand corner. Completely mishit it. Got the second prize though, red in the middle available.
He's missed it. He's put it on the near knuckle.
Mark Selby, 27.
So, what a let-off for Ken Doherty. He's missed precious little throughout this tournament, Mark Selby, but he let that one slip away.
1.
When you're that close to them, it's a little bit awkward, and if anything, that red seemed to drift to the right as we showed you the replay there. Okay, I don't think he hit it that well, but I definitely detected that pulling to the right, as they used to do when we used to play on thick cloths. But now with these thin cloths, you don't get the ball pulling against the nap.
Yes, I think it was always hitting the near jaw, but it definitely dived a little bit. But that wasn't the poor shot, it was the shot previous. You know, he'll be disappointed more with the
6.
shot previous where he didn't get the desired position. This is the shot Dennis mentioned. It was always hitting the near jaw lock, just then all of a sudden it's curled and hit half an inch down, so it definitely went a little bit. 20-point lead. Winning post coming
7.
closer for Ken Doherty. But still a little bit of work to do yet.
Yeah, he's going to need both reds. And the one that's near the balk line, as we call it, the chalk line, is the more awkward one. So his plan of attack here will be red. Good angle in the colour to then drop just in behind that last red. No, that's not what he intended. He's going to be running away from that red. If he had been nicely on the brown, he could have dropped the brown in, finished somewhere where I've got the other white ball there, and that red would have been reasonably comfortable. Yeah, he's got a choice. He can play the snooker or he can put a colour safe because of the difficult red.
What would you suggest here then? Roll up to the brown or put a colour safe?
Well, if you roll up to the brown, it's still open the game because it's easy to get out of the snooker. So I'd prefer to put a colour safe and still try and get a snooker. A blue safe and maybe try and get in behind the black.
He must have read your book, Dennis.
10.
You see, he's still got the snooker, but he's got the blue safe. If he rolls in behind the brown, all the colours were still on. So it'll be interesting to see how Mark plays this. He can just nestle on the red, or he can take a chance and hope for the best. So he's just hoping to land on it. Is that hard enough? Yeah. Maybe in behind the black again, though. He's got that available to him, I think.
Just a fraction sort of pace. Mark can get through to the right hand side of the red, but it's all about missing the kiss on the yellow on the way back with the cue ball if he can't hit it full enough to send the red round the cushions. If he plays it thin, he's going to have to avoid A, the double kiss, and B, the kiss on the yellow. If he could hit full ball, he'd just play a stun and leave the red at the black end of the table, white at the other end, but I don't think he can hit enough of it. No, he can't. Half ball only. That's why he's really taking his time looking at it. He's trying to see if he can hit it thick enough. Was always there, wasn't it, that yellow? And that's why I suggested it. It was such a big target, the yellow. Ken needs red and colour.
One.
No heroics with the positional side of this shot. Just make sure of the black and leave the longish yellow.
Eight.
Both players looking in good form. This could be a cracking semi-final.
17.
I think Mark will stay in his seat.
17
Just
on the
signals to Arian Williams. It was that early 42 effort from Ken Doherty that paved the way for him taking the frame. The Dubliner leads 2 frames to 1.
Biggest improvement, the knowledge of the game, I would say. I think as you get older, you sort of you have more experiences, and you know, you become more knowledgeable about the game, and you sort of mould your own type of game over the years. And so I would say my knowledge has probably improved. I would like to make a lot more breaks. I don't make as many sort of centuries as I would like, or bigger breaks. Maybe that has been my sort of downfall in previous seasons. I don't know how I'd like to be remembered when I retire. I'd always think that I always gave 100%, and I was always a sort of a trier. I never sort of threw in the towel. Maybe that would be my epitaph.
Well, Ken Doherty is in terrific form now this week. And Steve, his game against Sean Murphy was interesting because he started off shakily, and then halfway through the game he just clicked into gear.
That's right. He did make some breaks at the end of that. 3 centuries in 4 frames. And it's interesting when a player's sort of struggling to break build, what comes first? Is it because they're struggling to pot the ball and they have to concentrate too much on the pot, or is it just they're going about break building in the wrong way? And so when you're practicing, you can practice break building, can't you, John?
Absolutely, yeah, he can do that. But he said himself, he readily admits he probably doesn't make as many centuries as some of the other players. But the thing is, with his quality of his match play overall and his application to the game, when he does score heavily, that's what makes him exceptionally difficult to beat.
Okay, looks like the players are coming back out. Ken's taken a 2-1 lead. Let's get back to Willie and Dennis.
Thank you very much indeed, boys. And this is an important frame, I think, for Mark Selby. I'm sure he feels the way the opening 3 frames have gone, he should be 2-1 in front. Another break off that's not good. Shot to nothing available.
Well, we've got all sorts of fans. That's the girls from the Ukraine there, and is it a little lion or something with a set of headsets on?
Probably make better sense of our commentary than the public.
But we mentioned that shot that he left on from the break off. There's only a few players who have been breaking off and getting the white over behind the yellow or green. Most of the players have been leaving that shot on. And it's a very good chance because the balls are nicely placed here. Those 2 are not awkward. That's around the black.
4.
They're just finding it difficult to get enough side to get further. It's just skidding off that 3rd cushion. That's all that's causing it.
Five.
He's overdone that, because his plan would have been to get up to the reds next to the black, the one to the left. And now he's having to take the brown. There must be one just above the pink that goes through the gap.
9.
There it is.
Yes, he can get on the black or pink here. Ideally like to get on the black just to flick the red away from the other red. Hasn't got the angle to do that. He wanted to finish low on this black. If he'd have finished low, he could have just cannoned the other red out of the way. Not too bad though.
He's too near the cushion because quite easy to pop
17.
This red, and then that clears the other red. But he shouldn't have been anywhere near the side cushion. It means he's got to play an awkward little stun shot. And when you've got the butt of the cue slightly in the air, it makes it a little bit more difficult.
18.
It wobbled a few times, that one. But when you're bridging down like that, in fact, you could see the white jumping a few times before it got to the red. That happens on these fine cloths when you're striking down on the cue ball.
$25. 26.
Well, he's wobbled it again, and that's why the white has ran away. A bit unlucky to go through the gap, but he didn't pot the black cleanly there.
33.
And that well could be end of break. I don't think he can see enough of the one to the right and the back of the bunch to cut in. So the black's gone in off the left angle.
Oh, this looks to have to be hit very, very thin to avoid the jaws. It's a very easy safety shot to play off the one next to the pink and play back into ball. Got to be careful here, he doesn't catch the jaws.
Mark Selby, 33.
33, but not enough. That was an excellent opportunity. In some ways, Ken's had a result there that only cost him 33.
Well, this crowd's certainly enjoying this match, and quite a large crowd it is. Always do get terrific crowds here at Wembley. It was in the conference centre for many, many years, and last couple of seasons it's been played from the Wembley Arena. But they do love the snooker in this neck of the woods. Of course, they travel from all over the country, and as we could see earlier, from different parts of the world, with the girls from the Ukraine. Met a couple of Russians in the hotel last night also, and the game very popular out there, but it's a good semi-final. It's building up very nicely.
He'd like to be able to play safe off the one next to the black, purely because it's an easier safety shot. You can't hide the cue ball in behind a baulk colour, I don't think, playing off the edge of the pack going up the table. May use the pink here, he could actually flick off red then pink to get it up to the table. As you can see from there that it's tough just to screw past the pink and blue.
Yeah, if he tries that shot, I think he's going to plant another red and might take it up past the blue spot area. That's why he's reluctant to play it with a little screw shot. Has he covered this one? No, I think the flick on the green might just have left enough room for Mark to take the pot on. And Mark Selby doesn't miss many of these. He's got to be a bit careful he doesn't cannon the red near the black, so he's got to play it with a little bit of caution.
Yes, Dennis called the problem ball, the red and black, and that's the reason he had to dig down on it and made the pot a lot more difficult than it would have been if he could have played it plain ball. That's one that's got away.
Well, this is tough where the white is. Looks easy, but it's awkward bridging, and you can always cue across that one. That was far from straightforward there. So we had a bit of a result, Mark. The white finishing up right in the jaws of the middle pocket.
Played that nicely because he can just roll it in and get on the 3/4 ball blue and play for choice of red. The one behind the black is the one he'd like to get onto off the blue. Depends whether the red at the back of the bunch will pot or the one at the top of the bunch will pot.
Yeah, I think he's got the angle to even run through or stun to leave himself somewhere near the end of the line. He's got the loose one, but as you said, well, he'd be better dropping on that. And, well, the one that's just, there's the one, yeah, it's available, so didn't have to necessarily get on that
10.
one.
This will certainly open a few reds up in playing this shot, so we weren't sure whether that red potted till we got that camera angle, and this has turned out to probably be a better choice now. I'm disappointed with that. I thought he'd have flicked a few more reds. I know he's 43 in front, but he's going to need to go into them at one stage, and he'd have been on pink or black if he'd have just brought another couple of reds out there. I mean, still a strong favourite to win the frame, but he's got to play one more cannon.
Black having to go on to the pink spot.
Black ball.
It's key that he gets a good angle on the colour now.
26.
I think it would be from the blue looking at it. 59, the red would be 60, blue would be 65, so one more red needed. Or can he get through for the black to get the cannon from that angle? I think so.
27.
Well, he's looking to see if there's a possible plant on, but there doesn't look to be. So it's going to have to be the cannon to clinch the fourth frame. Well, there must be a plant on. A little bit of distance between the reds, but he can make it. It's going
34.
to the right of the pocket, but shouldn't be a problem. This to make it 2 frames all.
35.
One of the best pool players in the world, as well as he's been a former world 8-ball pool champion, and they play an awful lot of plants when they're playing in pool. So he's usually very proficient at getting plants. Missed one earlier on though, the old reverse plant, but that one was played very well.
40.
And I think 2 frames all will be a true reflection of this first session.
41.
Both players look to be queuing very well. A couple of awkward frames, but they both had half-century breaks. And as the boys in the studio called it, it's going to be a close finish,
48.
you feel?
49.
Yes, I think Mark Selby will be feeling very pleased with himself, because having gone 2-1 behind,
56.
he'd have been a little bit worried about going 3-1 behind. The fact that he dominated really the first 3 frames and found himself 2-1 behind. So as Dennis said, I think 2-2 is about fair. Started off, of course, the best of 11. We've now got best of 7 coming up. First to 6 for a place in this Masters final.
63. 64.
No chance of a century, but it's been a decent sized break, as we mentioned before, in every frame.
trick shot.
69. 69,
Well,
I'm
trick
afraid.
shot not gone, but it's 69 right at the right time. I think what we've seen is about fair. Both players looking good form. It's all to play for after the interval. We're all square at 2-all.